G'day everyone, Jason Nunn from Fisherman's Warehouse Marine, Sweet Street at Warners Bay, your Newcastle Honda Marine dealer. And of course, today being Thursday, what a backdrop. Secret Bay, very protected, a little bit of a sou'wester here, but as you can see behind me here, the lake, still picture perfect, beautiful blue skies. Guys, later on this afternoon, possibly showers and thunderstorms, but we're going to have sou'westers this afternoon into tomorrow. Saturday into Sunday starts to go east-northeast, and some very hot temperatures on Sunday, in and around the mid-30s, so they say. So we'll just see where that takes us. Last weekend, of course, we went out wide, out to the briny, I might add, out to 500 fathoms. Believed it was going to be 10 to 15 knots. Not the case. Got out there 20, 25 most of the day, probably till about 2:30, where it started to back off. Dead out of the north, and it was ugly, absolutely ugly. There was a few boats out. We didn't do any good on those yellowfin. We got a nice dolly, around about 5 or 6 kilo. There were a couple of yellowfin caught down on the southerns, one about 15 kilo. One of the guys got a quadruple hookup on small fin. You're saying they're only about 10. Marlin dropped on the southerns, and a couple of striped marlin caught early on the car park, and another couple up before lunch, and a few dropped. So the water out there, guys, right on the back of the mids, 22.5 here. Waned away down to the southerns to around about 21.5, but the water is cobalt blue, unbelievable, and there's a lot of dolphin fish out off the edge. Port Stephens all the way through. Now that water is unbelievable. The amount of bird life that's out there at the moment, from really about 30 fathoms out, there is tens of thousands of shearwaters, known as mutton birds, and a lot of albatross, and some of the biggest albatross I've seen in many years. Clusters of gannets in and around 30 to 40 fathoms as well. And on the way back in on Sunday afternoon, around about 5, bit after 5, there was just soury sheeting out of the water everywhere with birds going through them. So there was some sort of tunas, I don't know if they were mac tunas or what, even dolphin fish possibly, mowing through schools of souries. There's plenty of dolphin fish from Port Stephens fad right the way. Newcastle fad, no doubt, but definitely off Swansea, the Swansea fad, producing some really nice dolphin fish. That big nor'easter yesterday blew in a lot of blue bottles. There was a lot of blue bottles yesterday starting to come down the channel on that run-in tide. A clear indication that that warm water is certainly pressing down the coast. The farm, not only dolphin fish on the fad, guys, still worthwhile getting out there for some reds and the odd trag. And there's some nice kings, Texas, down towards Terrigal. The inshore fishery, I think, is the go. Crowdy all the way down to Nora. Still plenty of inshore snapper, Broughton Island in particular. But that tide this weekend, 9:30 high tide on Saturday, 20 past 10 Sunday, looks very, very good for the inshore fishery. The new moon will come in tomorrow night, being the 1st of November. So it's a perfect opportunity if you get the chance, really, to get out and try to fish that. Your low tide, for the guys in the estuary in particular, around about 1/4 to 10 to 4 on Saturday afternoon. Not a lot on the beaches, but on the back of this dark cycle, and we're seeing some prawn activity move out of the estuaries, we should start to see a few whiting and brim spill around, not only onto the breakwaters, so spill onto those little corner areas of, no doubt, Stockton, and definitely Belmont Blacksmith stretch in along where that surf club is areas there, guys. Well worth a look, particularly with this warming water. If you're going to go on the rocks, there's still plenty of options there. Early, I think, for a few kings, particularly on lures, but drummer, ludric, and brim on those rocks on that high tide looks particularly good. Reports from the prawn run originally, very, very slow was the reports I was getting on the beginning of the prawn run. However, there's still opportunities tonight, Friday night, Saturday, even Sunday night, to go and have a late prawn, because the tide doesn't change till AM, so 2:30 AM, 3:30 AM, and so on. So prawns are always change on will come down the channel on the change of the tide, which is 3 hours before the bottom of the tide. So you've got ample opportunity over the next 3 to 4 nights to go and have a bit of a dig. I still reckon there's more prawns on the AM than there is on the PM, so it's worth a go. As a result of these prawns coming down, and hopefully we see a few more with the sou'easter, some very good fish on the flats. Talk to the Condry Frammy, Don and the team. They got some beautiful brim on Saturday afternoon prior to the run. They got 14 mixed sizes, but a couple of really nice ones in there. Don's son sent me through a message in the evening, said, Jace, 14 already. That's what we're starting to see. It's about the hilly this morning. He fished yesterday morning on the flats, got 10 bream in no time, but no size. So it's the evening that is producing the better fish. What Hilly did say to me though, there was a lot of whiting on the flats. I think tube worms are going to be definitely the go, but live prawns and or pink nippers, if you're prepared to travel to pump those, will work very, very well. And look, it'll just get better as we just keep on moving forward to Christmas over the next, or really 6 to 8 weeks, that is for sure and certain. Some good blues from the crabs in the lake, guys, still a lot of jennies, but the quality is there and it's worthwhile doing, particularly with the round enclosed pots. You have the ability to get the jennies out without damage, and if you've got witchesats, cut them out, guys. Just cut the mesh off and let them go. We're already starting to see that flathead scenario. They're still getting good flathead in the deep water, guys. Don't just avoid going deep and just occupy all that time in the shallows, but there are quite a number of fish getting caught on lures through that Swansea Channel area, Belmont Bay, and along the backs of the islands there, and in particular the seaward side of the ridge down towards Salts Bay. Some really good areas down there to chase flathead, whether you're drifting with pillies or indeed using lures. There's some really good opportunities. Mulloway, yes, there's still mulloway in the lake, and even though we're coming in to that dark cycle, as we talked about last week, there'll still be plenty of options for squid early in the morning down in that Swansea Channel. Kingies, there's a few at the bridge, they tell me. There's been a lot of activity with guys down there, but I still think the lake and even down rigging on those live squid will be your better option. And there's still a few nice reds getting caught in the lake. Some really nice, medium fish, those 45s or a little bit better. It's good quality. The fishing in the lake is ideal. Mate, all in all, it doesn't look like a bad weekend. I think it's going to be hot, but you've just got to get out there, and if you want to have a bit of a crack at the prawns, there is still time. Now, just on a quick note, obviously my wife, a keen member of Hunter Wildlife, and as I am, we're having a lot of trouble at the moment with volunteers for seabirds on Lake Macquarie. Now, Lake Macquarie, the largest saltwater lake in the Southern Hemisphere, we just do not have members who can do seabird rescue. There's a lot of reports of injured pelicans in particular, line, hooks, and some really bad gashes to necks and broken wings, the whole gambit on our lake. I would love to see some more volunteers. There's lots of listeners and lots of viewers out here. If you're retired or if you've got the time to put in, just contact myself or give Hunter Wildlife a call. We need help. There is a lot of injured birds out at the moment and we've just got to rally them up. So just be mindful of that. And the other thing, we lost a good mate this week. Jamie Morgan, this report's for you. See you then.